Got the podium ready for you.
Okay, great.
First, just to update this weekend, the president. I know there's no briefing task force schedule. Any idea of kind of what he'll be doing in terms of keeping in touch with governors, lawmakers he'll be speaking with?
Yeah, no indication as to who he'll be speaking with, but if I get that information, I'll share that with you. And things sometimes change, so we'll see what the president decides to do this weekend.
Are there any plans to stop or change the briefings as they are now?
Look, I leave that to the president. That's entirely his decision, but I believe the president's at his best when he's speaking directly to the American people. He's had, I think it's 49 briefings since the end of February, so pretty regular briefings, and I think that those have been very effective and very useful.
Yesterday you said the president's remarks were taken out of context, and then he said he was being sarcastic. Why the mixed messaging there?
Oh, that's not a mixed message at all. Taking a sarcastic comment and running with negative headlines is the definition of taking something out of context. So I believe those answers are very much in sync.
Do you have any updates on the status of Kim Jong-Un? There are reports he may be dead, in a very serious health state. Do you have any updates?
We're definitely aware of those reports. The intelligence community is looking very closely at that. We don't have any updates on that at this time, but the intel community is certainly looking at it.
Do you know the last time the president communicated with him or the
I
administration?
don't know that, no. I don't know
The president signed the PPP extension yesterday. I'm just curious, the next stimulus, has there been talk about when that would actually come to fruition, of what the timeline would look like?
So this administration immediately wants to hit the ground running, looking at the next iteration. Of course, we are keen to see infrastructure. We're keen to see payroll tax pause and other than that, state and local government, something else that we're talking about. Secretary McEnany would have more information on that, but we want to hit the ground running.
But a timeline, just in terms of, you think in the next 2 weeks, you're talking 2 months, when are we?
I don't have a definitive timeline on that just yet.
Why didn't the president take any questions yesterday?
Look, the president has taken questions for 49 briefings since the end of February. This president's the most accessible in modern history, the most transparent. And I would also note that earlier in the day, he took many, many questions there from the Oval Office after the bill signing.
Dr. Burke said that the president likes to sort of work out some of his thoughts on some of the scientific material as a way to explain what happened when he, on Thursday, talked about using UV light or disinfectant chemicals, and could they be somehow therapeutic. Would you, as an advisor on communications with the president, suggest that he hold back in some of that freewheeling talk in front of the American people?
No, I would suggest the media not take him out of context. I think this president has consistently said from the beginning that people should consult with their doctors. Anytime he's talked about hydroxychloroquine, for example, he said you have to get a doctor's prescription. He's repeatedly emphasized that, and I wish the media would too.
Is there any concern that these briefings or the president's comments during them may be hurting his poll numbers? Has he been advised?
Not in the slightest. I think, on the contrary, the American people have had an opportunity to hear directly from the president, sometimes more than 2 hours. So I think that they get a very clear insight and look into who this president is without the filter of the media. They get to directly hear from him, and I think that's a very good and positive thing.
People have such anxiety now, economically and in terms of the virus. They're looking for the president to give them specific facts. Doesn't he need to be more careful about the potential misuse of something he says when people don't understand?
No, I think the president gives very specific facts. I was just this morning reading through the transcripts of some of his briefings, and just in the course of a few short sentences, we learned that there's been a 40% decline in cases, and I should back that up. There's been a decline in 40% of U.S. counties in the number of coronavirus cases. That was as of Thursday. We also learned that there's been, I believe it's 23 states that have seen a decline in cases. That's as of Thursday. We also learned that in 46 states that we've seen a decline in COVID-like symptoms, and that was just in a few, at the very opening of his remarks. He's always fact-driven. There's always statistics sprinkled through what he shares, and I wish the media would focus on those.
Very quickly, has the president been in touch with any of the states that are starting their reopenings on Monday? Mississippi, Colorado, Tennessee. I know he talked to the governor of Georgia before.
Yeah, the president has talked to a number of U.S. governors. In the mornings he's frequently on the phone with governors and senators, and I know that there have been a number of governor calls on his call list.
Is the task force meeting today, Kaleigh?
There will be a meeting, but it's going to be via telephone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kaleigh.
Thanks for your time.
Enjoy your Saturday.
You too.